Call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Owens.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Bunting is in Japan and Commissioner Gay is in Wisconsin.
Enough for a quorum. George, will lead the invocation.
Bow your heads, please. Gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day that you've given to us. And we just, especially this time of year, Father, pray for the farmers that they are gathering in their crops and that they would have a bountiful crops and that you would put your safety upon them and blessings. We ask now, Father, you be with us through the rest of this evening and we could do the things for the folks of Gratiot County. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Stand for pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Will we approve the agenda?
Moved and supported to approve the agenda. It's written. All in favor? All right, brief public comment. You have anybody, Matt? Or?
No, we don't.
All right, we'll move on. Consideration of the consent calendar. Anything pulled out of there?
Consent calendar.
It was supported to accept the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Administrator's report.
Well, last week we had our township meeting up at Pine River. I believe three of you were there. All three of you were there. Consumers Powers was the guest speaker. They spoke on solar developments within the county and how they were promoting solar around here in Michigan. I think a lot of the information that they shared was common knowledge. We've been through a couple solar projects now here within the county. And they are looking to build more around the infrastructure that we have that transports the turbine power that we have in the ground. So the infrastructure is there and they're looking to add where they can. We have had a serious influx of FOIAs recently through the sheriff's department. And this is something that I think has really picked up this year. I don't know if it's a shift in the public being interested in seeing what is happening in the police industry, but the most difficult part of replying to FOIAs related to the sheriff's department is that they ask to see all the body cam, they ask to have all the body cam footage. So we do have a program that allows us to blur out certain portions of video, but it requires a staff member or two at the sheriff's department to have to go through that video frame by frame, holding on to the image where it needs to be blurred out if there's, for example, a minor that is in there, or I'm sure there are many other rules too, but that's one that I'm familiar with. We have some very complex cases over the last couple of years that have been FOIA'd, and they don't seem to be getting any less complex. I know that some other counties, the sheriff's department has an employee specifically to work with FOIAs. I don't know. I know that the sheriff's department in Gratiot County is interested in that. But what I'm trying to do right now is gauge how much time is being used, because currently the sheriff's assistant and a detective are working on these, and it's taking up approximately 30% of a detective's full-time job to answer these FOIAs. So I have asked them to start tracking their time to see how much time they are putting into this, to talk with other counties to see how they handle this. And so I'm just kind of gathering information to see what type of solutions we can come up with to possibly relieve them of this duty. I have heard that other counties that a FOIA coordinator would also be used in other departments that do get FOIA. For example, if we go through another influx of FOIAs related to elections this next year, that same person would be trained to help work with that. And this is just conversation. I'm not asking for anything. It's just letting you know that this is in the works and we might talk about it in the future. Tomorrow morning, we have mediation with the Road Patrol and Corrections Union. There will be our first mediation. We will have our lawyer present for that. Central Dispatch is also ramping up for negotiations that were supposed to be completed on October 1st. I don't know why they haven't started working with us before the fiscal year started, other than it is a new union. So they may have spent a lot of time preparing documents and rules for that. October 26th, our Gratiot Promotional Committee has declared that we will be having a chili cook-off. So if you will be around town, probably between 11:30 and 1:30, we're expecting to have a lot of crock pots full of chili down in our break room down there. So if you can stop in, say hi like we did, like you did the last time at the potluck, it's greatly appreciated. And that is what I have for you. If you have any questions, let me know, please.
Are these just like public folks in the county here for in the police department? Is it organizations?
Well,
Like just Charlie that lives down the street wants to know what the cops did last night?
the majority of them come from law firms. We do surprisingly get a couple television production companies that FOIA some of our cases, some of the higher profile cases. They review it to see if they want to do a documentary on it.
So like a traffic stop, I get stopped by the police. They could FOIA that thing and they would know that it was me. I mean, or that when it just, if I had my grandkids with me, they blur them out, but they would know that they stopped me and I was speeding or whatever.
Correct.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
I think they would have to know the name of the case. They have to have specific details before they can actually complete the FOIA.
So how would they know that? How would they, I mean, did the police, I guess I really don't know. Did the police give like, if they stop me, do I get a number? Like if I get stopped by the police, do I get a number or something entered, or that they stop me and this is my number today or something?
The incident number?
That, there's a CAD number from dispatch when they key the mic and they type in that they made a traffic stop on me. Other than that, it'd be entered onto their daily. And then if a citation was issued or not, that would be entered into an entirely different process, a LexisNexis computer system. It's just a verbal warning, it would do nothing more than on your daily and at the dispatch center.
How would somebody FOIA that would know that number? How is those, you just say, give me all the numbers for you to stop today?
Well, they would.
Could you come up?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. If you're stopped, the process would be, the officer's gonna call that out and dispatch has a record of it. Oop, somebody. There's gonna be a record of that. Then they're gonna put your name and information on their daily. Someone would almost have to be listening to a scanner to know that you were stopped and to know the right day.
My name will be broadcast across.
Yes, that if for them to say, I want the information from Sam Smith's traffic stop, they would have almost had, or someone else seen you and told them, and then they would have to tell us the time and stuff. So, and then there would be body cam footage and dash cam footage from that. If another officer showed up on the scene, there'd be another body cam footage. That's how you get into these bigger, more complex cases. 4 or 5, 6 officers show up there. Multiple police cars, they've got a car camera running on their dash. Each of the officers have them body cam footage. Then someone goes to jail, there's more body cam footage from when they go into the jail. That's how you start getting into these hours and hours and hours of body cam footage from that. But on a traffic stop, it would be a fairly short amount of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but the stuff he's talking about is they leave that run when they get in the car and they type your name into a computer, lean, Law Enforcement Information Network, all that has to be redacted out. Anything that it says about you has to be redacted out. The screen has to be redacted out so that they can't read it. And then if your grandkids, are with you, then they'd also have to redact out their faces and all that. And if their names were given or if they spoke, what I mean, all that stuff that could possibly identify them has to be redacted out, so.
I had one speak. She kept saying, hi, hi, hi. If I ever said, you need to say hi to her, she ain't gonna stop.
And let me guess, how long did it take for them to tell their mom that it stopped? Was it grandma or was it grandma they had to tell or was it?
Yeah, they stuck her head and said hi.
So what you're saying is you have a couple of people that have to take about 30% of their time
Yeah,
to do this.
I will be surprised if it's not higher because when they come in, like today, I know, Detective Sergeant Eric Leonard was working on one exclusively all morning, completed it, and before he got that one done, Jen had received 3 more that he was handed for body cam footage, dash cam footage. It's a long, tedious process to do it.
Time and value of money. I mean,
Yeah.
it costs a lot of money to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, they pay for the service, but we're losing productivity out of people. That's the problem. I mean, yeah, there's a cost that we recoup for our doing this work. The problem is when you're doing that,
People, yeah,
you're not
taking 30% away from the
Yes.
detective's time to
and
do the work.
that's part of me that thinks it's more than that in the end because you kind of get ramped up doing it and then the phone rings. You got to stop where you're at, deal with your job. A call goes out on the radio, you got to stop, go deal with your job, then you come back. And it's just that you don't get to just close your world off and just work on that. And it's the same thing for Jen, especially where her office is located, right up there where it's constant people coming into the front counter. You're trying to pay attention to what you're doing to make sure that they don't do something wrong because we can get sued as a county for that. It's very time consuming and it's serious work that they're doing. I mean, there's a lot of rules and regulations that they have to follow.
Most of that comes after you've charged them with something. You charge somebody with something. I mean,
Yes.
so if an attorney would want it.
I want to add something real quick. It used to be that every time a charge was filed, the defense attorney would do a FOIA for all of the video. If our office requests it for a trial or for our work, it doesn't have to be redacted. So it's a much simpler process for the sheriff's department to get it to our office. So we have worked with all of the defense attorneys in the county to say, if you're going to FOIA that, go through our office, we'll get it because we would have to have the unredacted version anyway, which is just a very simple upload and get it to us. There's no time to redact and go through it. So we've shortcutted all of that by just telling the defense attorneys to go through our office. We get it. It's non-redacted. It doesn't take their time. So the big FOIA requests that are taking so much time are news outlets, these citizens' rights groups, and it's typically our really big cases that were maybe controversial or there was a lot going on. So that's, I think, the bulk of it, and a lot of attorneys and lawsuits. And it's not a current criminal charge, so they can't go through our office to get it. It might be on a civil suit or something like that. So I just wanted to add that it's not.
I just find that odd that people would just, I didn't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of
I didn't know this last night.
they've always came in, FOIAs have always came in, but now they come in at it's kind of a ridiculous rate. Like, are you kidding me? 3 a day, you know what I mean? We have to put in for extensions of, to kick the can down the road if they're big cases like that, just because of the time that it takes to get them done. So, because every one of them has the moment you get it, there's a clock that starts ticking and then you can ask for an extension on those, but you can only do that so many times for so long. Okay.
One more question. How much can you charge them per hour?
We've got a formula that they actually use depending on the person's wage and all that.
Is you can charge the wage for the lowest qualified person that can do the work. So if you have somebody who needs to have lien clearance in order to do that.
Yep.
You have to find somebody who has lien clearance, see what their wage is, and that would be what you would charge them per hour.
You
And
can't
there's
charge the detective sergeant's wage.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So down the road here, and I know you're gathering all the data and you're gathering facts, but it sounds to me like the end, you want another body. And but the body could be shared between the county and the sheriff's department. So I'm looking at what kind of a person or what kind of requirements would be of that person in order to be able to hire somebody like that. It almost would have to be some kind of a law enforcement or something like that, wouldn't it?
Well, they're gonna have to have lien clearance in order to be on it because you're gonna that is a big thing is you have to monitor everything for all of the lien
So it's not
information.
as
So
simple as.
yeah, you can't just take somebody up
put it
the
in
street.
On the website and we're looking for a FOIA person. It's gonna be a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's not as simple as just, we can take somebody from the courthouse, maybe that's not busy at this time to do it. You know what I mean? It's gonna have to be somebody who's specific. There's special training they have to go through. They have to, I mean, there's updates that they go to. I mean, the sheriff and I have sent people numerous times to update classes.
People wouldn't actually go to school to do that, so maybe you're looking at someone that's a retired person or something like that, that's looking for, like, you know, like retires out of 55 or somewhere, like, you know what I'm saying? And
That's a real possibility that somebody that had, you know, been
that has
in the field could want to come back and
a
do
law
this.
enforcement background or whatever, so that there's a lot to think about. Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
It's a lot more complex than people think.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, it's just not hiring somebody.
no, when they get the training and stuff, it's pretty in-depth training on, because there's a lot of things to it, and you certainly don't want them making a mistake. Because that can get really costly to the county.
You also have to be very tech savvy too.
Absolutely, because I mean, the more, everything is computerized. Everything they're gonna work on is computerized. The reports are all computerized. The dash cam videos are all, you know, the body cam footage, it's all computer stuff. So. Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Can I throw in one thing, guys? The other thing is we have a problem with where we would put this position in the sheriff's office. We don't have the office space for an extra body in the sheriff's office. They got to have their own office that can close the door and shut the door and do their work without being interrupted. And that's going to be a problem too down the road.
Okay.
I'm looking at a guy leaning in an easy chair back there. What are you doing the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, rehabbing still.
Any other things for Chris? All right, move on to commissioner reports.
Okay, managed to make it to, managed to make it to all my townships this month. We had one change. The Hamilton Township, instead of meeting on the 11th, met on the 18th, but we managed to get that in. Also went to Breckenridge. The other townships are business as usual this time of year. They're pretty well all caught up on the working with the clerk's office as far as the contracts go. I don't know if you got anything more on that. Is everybody filled out or still waiting?
They're gonna be going out at the end of this week. I just have one more thing that I wanted to tweak on.
Okay, all right. So you're still working on that?
Should
Okay,
go out by this week.
okay, good. And then Breckenridge has broke ground on their new pavilion. That's in back, kind of back and kind of best way to describe it, if you know where Anschutz sits, it's in that back area, back of Anschutz. They broke ground with footings and things like that, so that looks like it's gonna be really good. Hamilton Township is still waiting on the engineered drawings for their new township hall. And Lafayette Township is considering building a new hall. But they're worried about pushback on the old hall because it's in pretty good shape and there's a lot of nostalgia and still a lot of old people, you know what I'm saying? One of those things. We had a Board of Health meeting. Everything went well there. That was in Ithaca this time. Next time it's in Stanton. So that's basically it.
You just rehabbing?
Oh, not even rehabbing yet, just hanging out. I was at the meeting, at Pine River and Chris covered it better than I could, so.
For me too. Yeah, we were at Pine River, the Township Association met last Wednesday, was it?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were all there. I was at Fulton Township. They were doing some work on their cemetery ordinances. Ashley has their footings in for their dollar store. I don't know if they have any cement poured. They had the footings they were putting in the other day when I was by there. So I think that's coming along. That'll be a project we can see by getting them some water and sewer out there that'll come up. But all I have.
I have one more thing I forgot to mention. Had a fly-in at the airport. There's about 40 planes flew in.
Jeez.
150 people attended. They also had a car show. The fuel tanks have been set. That's a good thing. We're waiting for the all the mechanicals as far as the electrical hookups and everything else and pumps and all that, but at least the tanks are done. And everything it was a beautiful day, and there was just a lot of good spirits out there. So that's it.
We have a resolution on honoring Mark Duflo. You want to handle that? What are you gonna do with it?
So we received this late from the last meeting, and so we missed his anniversary date. Retirement, I'm sorry. We missed his party that was last Friday. So I would recommend that we approve the resolution and then maybe see if we can't invite him to present it at a different date. We can get him into the meeting. Yes.
I'll move. Work.
We'll move and supported to ask Mr. Duflo to come in and give him the resolution. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Keegan.
All right. So the Gratiot County Equalization Department is presenting the 2023 apportionment report for review and approval. This report is a complete summary of the taxable value, millage rate, special assessments levied within each township and city in Gratiot County. The responsibility of the board is to approve the certification and spread of these millages upon the taxable value across the county. So before I get into going through the actual report, I just wanted to give kind of a brief overview of what all goes into creating this report. Basically, collecting the millage rates starts in May of each year after the March quarter review is done and we get all the data from the township assessors. We put all the data into what's called the millage reduction fraction computation form, or the L4028. Basically, this form calculates the millage reduction fraction for each taxing jurisdiction within Gratiot County. The millage reduction fraction boils down to basically measuring the township's tax base against what the current rate of inflation is. So if let's say, for example, if a township's taxable value has grown by 4% and the rate of inflation is only 2%, then their millages would be reduced to reduce the tax burden on the citizens, basically. So 2023 was a very high rate of inflation, so there were no millages reduced at all across the county. So once that form is complete, we send that to each unit of government. Then they use that form to create their tax rate request form, or the 4029. This is basically a form where they just list the millages that they are requesting to levy that year. We get each of those forms returned to us by September 30th. We look them over, review all of them, and then we compile them into the apportionment report.
We were pretty much at 5% this year because the inflation rate was at 7.
I believe it was 7.9.
What did they say we can only go to 5?
We rolled back.
Yep. So for like the taxable value purposes, it's capped at 5%. But in order to calculate the reduction fractions, we use the actual, which was 7.9. Yep.
Alrighty.
All right. So I'll just briefly kind of go over this report and feel free to stop me if you have any questions. The first page here It, at the top, it starts out with giving a breakdown of the millages that the county is levying, along with the estimated tax dollars that these millages will create. And then below that is the townships, cities, and villages with the same information, villages, and then the estimated tax dollars. The next page is the different taxing authorities in Gratiot County. And these all, I guess, each page basically breaks down the exact same information, what millages they're levying and what the estimated tax dollars. That would be great. The page after that, that is a breakdown of all the school districts. The following page is the community college, Montcalm Community College, and the different intermediate school districts. The next page with the list of millage rates is slightly different. So basically, this is a breakdown of all the millage rates in the county broken down by township and then school district. So if anybody wanted to go find what their millage rates is going to be for their property, they could go find their township and then find what school district they're in, and then whether or not they have a principal residence exemption. And that'll tell them exactly what millage rate is going to be levied against their taxable value, if they want to get an estimate of what taxes they're going to be paying this year. The final page is then just the special assessment millage rates. And that is whole reports. I don't know if anybody has any questions regarding that. Sorry if I went a
You
little
went through
quick.
pretty fast.
Yeah. So feel free to, if you got any page, you have any questions, I'll back right up. So.
Oh, yeah, I just want to go back to the intermediate school.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can find it again. I went right by it. Well, what page? is it?
My wife tells me I talk too fast, so I'm
Oh,
guessing she's
you
right.
talk awful fast, we're sure about that. I was just noticing that the Gratiot RESD was 1 billion and some odd dollars. Is that due to the fact that the Gratiot Intermediate School District covers almost?
Yeah,
Really
it's such a
Gratiot
large
County.
area.
Yeah.
Mhm. So that, yep, that 1.5 billion, that is their taxable value. Yep, and that covers a huge area of properties.
How much tax does that garner for them?
So they levy, their allocated rate is 0.2640, and that estimated tax dollars is a little over 400,000. Their operating millage rate is 5.2 mils, and that is an estimated little over 8 million tax dollars, and then total just under 8.5 million dollars.
$1 million. Well, it just seems like a lot of money.
That's just a little bit under what the county generates with their
Yeah.
general operating.
Okay, just curious.
Yep. Yeah, because I believe I have the county operating, at 9.3.
Right.
Yep.
Any other questions for Keegan?
I got a couple for you, real quick. I apologize, I didn't prep you on these, but they're fairly simple ones. I just got an email this afternoon that we are going to have, Gratiot County is going to have an assessment roll audit this year. Can you explain to me what that is and
Yeah.
what our requirements and participation in that will be?
So basically what that is every 5 years, each county, or I guess every county in the state gets audited by the State Tax Commission, and this new, it used to be called the audit of minimum assessment requirements. Now they say they've completely redone the audit, and they call it the audit now, but it's basically the same thing. Our last one was in 2019, and they are just taking a look at each township's their land value analysis, their ECF analysis. They dig into their values, and then they go through a lot of the different policies and procedures of each township to make sure that they're up to the state guidelines. We actually are having a class on basically getting through the audit here on October 20th. So the state inspectors are going to come out and kind of go over everything they're going to look at with each of the assessors. So hopefully we can get everybody through that pretty smoothly.
I was also told that later this month, and I apologize, I don't have the date written down in front of me, but there is a seminar down in Okemos for people to learn, people in politics to learn about, equalization and assessing.
Yeah, yep, so basically a local official class, and I have all the details on that. I don't remember exactly what they are, but I can forward you the, class and it'll have the flyer and sign up, link and everything like that, if anybody's interested in
So would
that.
commissioners be a target audience for that or no?
Yeah, anybody who, has any sort of hand in dealing with equalization or assessing would get, some good stuff out of that. So I know, I think Kathy Roseland said she went with a couple of her, city officials when they had it. I don't know when the last time they had it, but she said it was a very good class and she got a lot of good information from it.
This audit that was done in 2019. The last time that was done in Gratiot County, was that when we had a poor audit report from that?
Yeah, yep. So I believe that none of the townships got, so basically the worst thing that can happen in an audit is that the assessor gets removed from their position. And then the township either can hire a new assessor or the designated assessor for the county gets appointed to that role. And I don't believe any townships had that action taken against them from that. Basically, what happens if you fail your original audit, you get a follow-up review the next year. If you haven't corrected it, then you get a follow-up review the next year. Then if you still haven't corrected it, then they take that action. So we did have some follow-up reviews, but nothing that wasn't able to be taken care of.
And that's when we brought you into Gratiot County, right?
Yep, I started in 2000. So I started in 2019, but basically that was the 2018 assessment role that they were auditing.
And you saw the follow-up reviews.
Yep. Mhm.
Thank you.
Nothing was overly substantial that couldn't be fixed, so.
Alrighty.
Hopefully this year we won't need to do any follow-up reviews or anything like that, but if we do, hopefully we'll be able to take care of them, no problem.
Alrighty, I think we need a motion to accept this.
Yep.
Moved and supported to accept the Gratiot County Enforcement Report. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Keegan.
Yep, have a good night.
Right, Mr. Wheeler.
Afternoon. For those of you, well, Jim Wheeler, Greater Gratiot, we need to appoint as far as our process going forward for the land bank. We've it's been slower from the state standpoint than we initially anticipated, but we've got our dollars and we're hoping that we would get out of it. But now we need to establish a board in order to do that. And you can see the Shelley in our office done a lot of work with it, but you can see what the terms are. Terry Ball, who would be our county treasurer, has to be a member of it. That's a statutory position. The rest of it, then you can see how it's delineated through. This has just been a situation where kind of with some discussions around thought it might be best to have the 3 city managers that we have, because we do have 3 cities located in that. And then our county administrator, Chris, being the 4th one then and then Terry's the 5th. Kind of as thought, just that would cover the cities. And then we kind of looked at Chris and Terry as sort of the whole county from that standpoint. And then, as you know, Greater Gratiot will be the administering agency for it, which are, we're charged with the entire county of it also. And these meetings are public, so it's not like there's some secret board here. So anyone can be invited to it from that standpoint. We've also got, a couple of villages that could be potentially be involved in it, but the dollars could be going anywhere in the county. So just thought this is usually a group that's frankly pretty easy to get together and can, during work hours, it's not uncommon for them to be involved in these type of things. So I think it's easier for us to get quorums and some things like that if it's to go forward. But that's our recommendation to get it started. But again, it's obviously your choices to have it.
I would move that we appoint the member or the folks that are in front of us for the Land Bank Authority Board.
Moved and supported to appoint Terry Ball, Eric Ripley, Kirk Giles, Jamie Kahn, Chris Osterhoff to the Land Bank Authority through the Gratiot County. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Any unfinished business? The airport authority, we were gonna move into that. We were gonna recess and go into a meeting, but we're gonna postpone it. Basically, we had stuff sent out to have applications come back to start this board. We've not gotten them all back yet. So we really don't have any business to take care of in it. So we're gonna, I don't know if you want to do it the next meeting, or you want to wait till the first one in November?
Like in 2 weeks, we will be.
So,
We'll be
you know,
good
in
to
2 weeks,
go.
the next meeting, then we're gonna put it back on the agenda for that. Well, really, I think we're about done. Anything else? Any other public comment? Quick. Motion to adjourn? To adjourn?
Adjourn.